The great challenge of our time is to understand ourselves in terms of the universe as a whole. We might be Americans, we might be Chinese, we might be Democrats. All of those are secondary. Our primary identity is we are a mode of the universe. So each aspect of our bodies has been constructed over time. Human energy, among the many things it's doing, one of the most crucial is to enable humans to see their true identity as a mode of the universe's creativity. Breaking out of the short little visions we have of ourselves as consumers, as, like I say, members of a nation state. We're something far more profound than that. And human energy, among other things, is igniting that awareness.
The aim is at having a story, a compelling, inspiring story about our purpose in the large universe, our human, individual, and collective purpose. How do you make this story to contain, the complexity of that we are aware of? Yes. So how do you simplify but not oversimplify? I think this is the major challenge.
Well, one problem with communicating the third story is that it's very hard to do so in a short amount of time. People don't have time. We really need to communicate this fast. We need to reach young people, and they have a very short attention span. But if you look at the great wisdom traditions, such as Christianity or Buddhism, one reason that they are appealing is because they're so vast and mysterious that you can spend a life and never get to the end of pondering the questions that they pose for you. And I think that Teilhard in the third story is of the latter sort. And so the real challenge is to bring people over a kind of a threshold so that now, rather than just needing it in some short version, they want to learn more and more and more, and they actually use it as a guide to their lives. That's what we're striving for.
The compelling problem that human energy is trying to solve is what Ben Cassera calls the techno-social dilemma. Our human institutions are just incapable of keeping up with the pace of technological change. And so humans are at a loss and are largely shaping their lives around technology instead of technology actually helping to make our lives better. That doesn't mean that technology never improves our lives. Thank you for the COVID vaccine. But the pace of technological change, the way that we are strongly encouraged to engage in certain kinds of social media activities, but that engagement is curated in a way to, sort of drive us apart from each other, right? So the point of social media, in theory, is to connect us, and yet we're being driven apart from each other.
And that's something that in the Human Energy Project we call the techno-social dilemma, or which I often use the term VUCA. The world is volatile, everything changes ever more quickly, uncertain, we really can't predict what's going to happen. Complex, that means everything is connected to everything. And ambiguous, we don't really know what all these things mean. And precisely to combat the feeling of alienation, the kind of feeling of meaninglessness that produces, you need a story, you need an encompassing story. The worldview of science doesn't give you a sense of how you should behave in the world. It just says the world is this big machine and it's just working and it doesn't care about us. So what for me the biggest problem is, and also for the Human Energy Project, is this problem of loss of meaning.
Human energy is trying to address the core problem of how we live in a technology-rich era in which the possibilities of technology and the powers of technology are such that they really challenge the traditional patterns that are evolutionarily embedded in our biology that feed us and create our humanity and nurture us. And that is increasingly challenged in the present world, that we want a sense of purpose, of meaning, of accomplishment.
The gap between the speed at which our world is changing due to technology and our ability to process it, understand it, regulate it, cope with it, and the incredible disorientation that means in the crisis of meaning that we don't understand the world that we're operating in or what our future is. It's very scary. Human energy speaks to that with a hopeful message about our ability to shape the future.
How can we create a world that works for everyone, where everybody's energized and alive and fulfilled, or on a pathway towards something constructive and meaningful? We thought we had the answer by consumerism, by consuming lots of things that we desire, and we see that that is not enough. We've always known it, but now we see that that is just not a model that works. But it was a model, or is still a model that's out there that is global, that is universal. What other model can come into place that is universal? Not tribal, not local, but something that can allow us to heal collectively at a universal level. So that's, I think, what the possibilities of human energy, that's what is missing currently in the world, and that's where all of this work can elevate and unite.
Human energy is trying to solve two things, as I see it. One of them is just to help people revision the future, to see the future not in terms of what's right around the corner and the disasters that could potentially befall us, but the human potential as a species, maybe even in the long haul thousands of years from now. That sort of long vision, I think, is pretty important. We're losing vision because we're so impacted by what's going on right now. That's clearly one of human energy's major issues. The other is, of course, to make sure that that vision is not destroyed by not understanding the processes that we're facing, not understanding the processes of evolution that have brought us here and have brought us to this point and are driving us forward. The scientific problem we face is, first of all, that our tools, the knowledge we have of evolution, of social change, are really developed in a different context. Those in evolution developed in the context of biological transmission and inheritance, a slow, molecularly based process. And those that have to do with human culture basically have ignored some of that dynamics. We don't tend to think about human societies as evolving, though we do have a sense of that. It's a very different kind of process. What's necessary is now that new kinds of communication media have become so powerful. Everything we've talked about in terms of the, you might say, the noospheric nature of human thought and human mental existence depends upon communication, is driven by communication. And now that we've amplified it so drastically in just the last few decades, it has radically accelerated both the speed of this process, but also maybe the kinds of dynamics that are intrinsic to it. And if we don't understand how that works, if we don't do good science in understanding it, it will of course be out of our control. It's not that evolution is ever in our control. We can never really engineer the future, but we can understand the forces that are at work. And the better we understand those forces, the better chance we have of keeping it from going in a direction that would not be supportive of human flourishing.